Greetings, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Still missing a few members here.
Hey, Shep, how you doing?
Good.
Harvey?
Hey guys, what's up?
The moon.
Yeah,
See the stars last night? They were awesome.
Yeah.
I am going to wait a couple more minutes because we're still missing a couple members, and I haven't heard that they weren't going to be here.
Harley, I like your cats.
No.
That's two of the four.
Two. I've got one little girl, a rescue. I saved her from a storm drain when she was about 8 weeks old.
Yeah. The three of them are brothers that I raised from feral kittens. And the orange one, that guy over there, he was lost in my yard. I brought him in.
Oh, well, the
But
lucky guy.
he was on death's door. He was not doing well.
Yeah. Yeah, this girl was not doing well either, but she checked out okay at the vets, so we decided that we'd make her a member of the family.
Good on you, man. Save all the kids.
Yeah, you bet. Spay them if we can.
Good evening, Adam.
Ron, can you hear the clock behind me?
No, I cannot.
Okay. It varies. I mean, some meetings I'm in, people can hear it, and some they can't. I turned the chime off, so we had a full Westminster chime back there, which I got rid of.
What did you do to your audio, Shep? Because you're like super clear tonight.
Took them off the
I
head.
don't know. Maybe I don't know. Maybe my diet has changed. I don't really know.
When we were having the problems, you had those headphones on plugged into the computer.
Yeah, I think it has to do with headsets for me. And I probably was over, broadcasting or I don't know what.
Okay,
Ron?
we have a forum now.
Hey,
So,
Ron,
did somebody say something?
yeah, did you send me an email this morning at 10 o'clock?
Who's talking?
Did you send me an email at 10 o'clock?
I sent you a text this morning. I sent everybody a text this morning as a reminder.
Yeah, I got a weird email from you, but we can talk about it. It wasn't from you, but it had your name on it, and then it had an alert. I'm wondering if somebody got into your email.
Yeah, watch out, guys. There's stuff going around. There are strange people latching on to what appear to be real emails or real websites or whatever, and perpetrating stuff. So be careful.
You can't see this, but it gives you a little yellow box that says "Be careful," and I was gonna click on it, and then I read the box, and I was like, "Wow, that's
Doesn't sound good.
All right,
Okay, it is now 7:05. I will open the hearing, the meeting. I have to read this COVID paragraph that is being read at all our Zoom meetings. Unfortunately, I'll have to read it here. An executive order from the governor of Massachusetts relieves public bodies from the requirement in the open meeting law that meetings be conducted in a public place that is open and physically accessible, provided that the public body makes provisions to ensure public access to the deliberations through telephone, internet, or satellite-enabled audio or video conferencing or any other technology that enables the public to clearly follow the proceedings of the public body in real time. In addition, all members of a public body may participate in a meeting remotely. The open meeting law's requirement that a quorum of the body and the chair be physically present at the meeting location is suspended. All other provisions of the open meeting law, such as the requirements regarding posting notice of meetings and creating and maintaining active meeting minutes, as well as the limited enumerated purposes of holding executive session, and in effect. Just verify that the recording is on. Don't see Mr. Filio, but I don't see Mr. Fanto. But is anybody else recording? If you are, please say so. I can put it in minutes. Nobody's responding. So this meeting will be held with roll call vote. And first I want to identify the attendees from the Conservation Commission. I'm Ron Vallette, the chairman. Got Adam Weinberg, vice chairman. Shep Evans, agent and associate member. Pat Seckler, member. Harley Keish, member. Don Scorpa, associate member. And let's see who else is here. I don't see Dan or Bob, so at this point they're absent. They might join us later. I have to take a note here. Bear with me for a second. Okay, first item on the agenda is the minutes. Agenda item 1, review and approval of the minutes of the December 8th, 2020 meeting. And Dan just joined us. Dan Scorpa. What I'm going to do relative to attendees, I'd appreciate when we get to the agenda item, if the people that are here to support that agenda item identify themselves. And I think the minutes the recordings will have that information also, but I'd appreciate it if you identify yourselves when we get to the agenda item. Anyway, the first agenda item is review and approval of the minutes of the December 8th, 2020 meeting. They were completed with comments from a few of you and sent out for your review for approval tonight about a week ago. Do I have any more comments on the minutes? Either raise your hand or unmute yourself and say something. I don't see anybody raising their hand. By the way, there is a function on Zoom that you can raise your hand and your hand would show up in the picture, so I know you want to speak. But other than that, just unmute yourself and wave your arm. On the reactions thing, there's a raise hand function down at the bottom of your screen. Okay, first on the agenda, first, do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion approved.
Have a second?
Dan Scorpa, second.
Who's the motioner? I didn't catch that. Is that you, Pat?
I didn't do anything. I'll approve the minutes.
I heard somebody make the motion
It
to.
was Adam.
Adam.
Okay, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Harley, aye. Ron, aye.
Pat, aye.
Dan, aye.
John, aye.
Yep.
Aye.
Thank you, sir. There's unanimous approval of the minutes. Motion passes. Item number 2 on the agenda, notice of intent. 2A is notice of intent for DEP file number WE 271-0216 from Stephen Bond on behalf of the town of Richmond. Project location is in the Dublin Road right-of-way at the Spruce Brook crossing adjacent to private properties shown on map 402, lots 46 and 50. The town proposes to replace the deteriorated upstream head walls and steel culvert pipes with an appropriately sized buried aluminum corrugated arch bridge and to restore and stabilize the adjacent site. Who's here representing Tegenbaum?
Good evening. My name's Dan Holmes. I'm a senior project manager with TOND. And with me this evening is Mary Zawotsky. She's an environmental scientist. And we've been working with Pete Beckwith and Danielle Filio over the course of the last year on this project.
Is that all?
Yep, that's about it.
Okay, I
Um,
think I like, the way I like to handle this is only two of us were at the site visit the other day. So to familiarize the rest of the team relative to the project, I'd like to have a short project overview, and I can share the screen if you got something you want to show.
Yeah, so if I select share screen, we'll
I can,
share it right from here.
I'll have to share it. Oops. Excuse me. There you go. You got something you put up on Zoom? You know, this is a large NOI, so you don't have to go through everything, just the pertinent things to give the team make them familiar with the project.
Okay. So, is this showing for everyone?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay.
Yeah, it is a little small, but I don't know how you increase the size. Can you increase
I
the
will
size?
zoom in, but I'll try to zoom in and then,
With your fingers.
okay.
Those pictures are good, though. You can start right there, though.
We got these pictures. All right, thank you for having us this evening. You kind of gave a nice overview. It's a double culvert along Dublin Road. It is passing Skates Brook. The current condition is pretty poor. Let me take a step back, sorry. The town received a Mass DOT small bridge grant to help fund the replacement of this bridge. It's considered bridge because it's rather than just being called a. So this photo here, if you can see that, that is looking upstream. It's actually located off the road, maybe 100 feet, and kind of looking westerly to southwesterly. This is looking at the upstream side or the inlet of the existing culverts. As you can see, there's a little bit of erosion on this side, on the right side, because these are undersized and there's eroded the bank over here. There's been some temporary barriers to protect some settling that's occurred, and also some temporary concrete blocks to as a temporary head wall. There's a little closer look. The flow is going through the northerly pipe, and then under larger rain events, it will overflow into the second pipe. There's a corrugated metal. The majority of the bottom of that pipe has corroded and is no longer there. This is what we call boilerplate pipe or steel circular pipe. Here's the original head wall. Looks like a CMU block that's been slowly collapsing and failing, which is the reason this concrete temporary head wall is in place. Down in this lower photo, you can kind of see where some of the, it's actually like the road base and some gravel materials have been washing into the stream. These are just more photos of that settlement. You can see right down, that's holding up, that's the guardrail post. Here's the outlet side, the downstream side of the culvert. Again, you can tell pipe doesn't flow, where you can see the active water moving here. And again, more that have been washing away into the stream. Did that catch up? You see this next photo with the arrows?
Yep.
Okay. This is the downstream side. These arrows are pointing to a similar CMU block head wall that has completely failed and is actually in the stream. This flag right here is the beginning of the wetlands, the BVW. It's here. It kind of runs parallel to the road and away from the road. And then similarly, actually this pink flag is bank line. And then this photo at the bottom, I believe, is standing approximately in the same location, just looking downstream. All right, so this is road surface. There's Dublin Road looking north. This is the inlet side on the left of the photo. This is the downstream side. Actually, here, this is on the side, this downstream, and this is upstream. All right, that's about the limits of the photo. I'll get to the drawings next, but before I do that, and I'll show them to you on the drawings, this area, roughly here in this bottom photo, is where we're calling for a temporary staging area and a dewatering location. So during construction, as the contractor encounters groundwater only, they will have to dewater to this upstream side and treat the water before it gets put back into the stream. We also call for another potential laydown area across the little bridge on the opposite side of the road. I will try to get up to the drawings here without.
Yeah, well, I would go right.
Too much.
That's the existing drawing there. I can't read the fine print, but is that the existing one?
Yep, correct. So here's this is the existing drawing. And we're also showing our demolition aspects. I can zoom in a little here.
Thank you.
So right here is like the edge of the road here and here. So the potential laydown areas that I just discussed here, we have the dewatering and sediment trap here. And the plan is to demolish the existing pipes, culverts, remove the concrete barrier, and also demolish all the concrete head wall. That will be the first stage of construction. And then this, a little more detailed here in a lot of lines, I apologize, but this is our proposed project and the proposed conditions. So this will be a 16-foot wide aluminum arch culvert with a natural stream bottom. The culvert has been designed to meet the stream crossing standards, which provides greater than 1.2 bank full width. And when the contractor sets up the work, they'll need to install a cofferdam up on the upstream side and a cofferdam on the downstream side. If you look into the details, which we can get to later, if there's any questions, I can answer them. We don't dictate to the contractor how they have to bypass the stream. They could use flume pipe or gravity pipe and either sandbag or somehow stop the water flow here and let a pipe run by gravity and discharge on the south side where there'll be another cofferdam, or they could actually set up a pumping system and they'll pump it around. In my experience, a lot of contractors prefer that. It allows them to get the bypass piping out of the construction zone. They'll set up those cofferdams. We're just looking to excavate an area of the culvert, so that will be full depth roadway reconstruction here, and then we will mill out these little sections to tie in the rest of the road. There's very little roadway improvements other than a new pavement cross section. Along the upstream side. So there isn't any wetlands on this side. It is a bank that we've identified out there. We're just looking to do some regrading of these two banks. We'll use core logs and live stakings planted along both sides. Again, we're looking to use a natural stream bottom, so we'll actually save some of the native stream bed material that is removed during excavation and replace it. We will place that on top of a rip wrap, which will help protect the structure in the future from any additional scour. On this downstream side here, see, we are impacting some of the wetlands. We are in a wet location area. You can see a little cross section down here. Not much of a change from existing conditions. And we're calling for 6 silky dogwoods, 4 common winterberry, and 4 speckled alder as the replication, and the rest of the surface will be covered with wetland seed mix. Okay. That is about it. These are just the details for some of the restoration. We're calling for compost filter tubes for erosion control. There's some of the stream bypass, the watering sediment traps shown here. There's a roadway cross section, fairly straightforward. Slope restoration, where the restoration is going to be planted loam and seed, but then there's also area that is going to be dumped riprap right on the upstream and downstream side to protect the structure from any scour. And I should have mentioned this in the very beginning. During construction, we are planning to set up a roadway detour entire length of the project so that the contractors can get in there and get out of there as quickly as possible.
What's your time estimate for this project? From road crew?
We would like out to bid this winter so the contractors can place their bid, allow the town time to select a contractor, and then towards construction. Hopefully beginning the summer up before the winter.
Okay, Peter, do you have anything to add? You're part of the application team here.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Nope, I have nothing to add. Dan summed it up pretty well.
Good. It's pretty, for the rest of the commission, if you haven't had a chance to look at the NOI, it is pretty complete. All the hydrological studies and stream studies are lots of detail. And not too many of us are qualified to go through that, but I think they're, Peter probably looked at it a little bit, but it's complete. So if you're interested in looking at that, that's fine, but I have no questions on those studies. The other thing I have for you, Dan, is the DEP letter that came out with some questions or issues that need to be noted. And you have that in front of you, Dan and Mary?
I do, yep.
About going through them one at a time. And
Okay.
they're probably addressed in your NOI. If they are, point to where they were addressed.
Okay. So number one, there was a DEP identified this stream as a cold water fishery. So they want to try and protect that. In our detail, we are planning to put core logs down by the edge of the banks, live stakings, with the intent as those grow, it starts providing some shade for the stream to remain cold water fishery. 2, the crossing's been served under stream continuity project. I don't have much to respond to that.
All that
Sounds like they're
all
just,
information is in the NOI or on the drawings.
right. I think they're making you aware of that. Guidance on dewatering will be provided in a file number notification email. Again, our dewatering, we do expect, being next to the stream, we do expect the contractor will have to dewater some of their. We have done soil borings out here, and we expect to encounter some ledge and large bowl. So once maybe the dewatering is not as difficult if we're on top of ledge, a little bit less water to deal with. Number 4, stream stats calculate bank full width of 13.9 feet versus the field measured 13.2. What I'd comment on that is stream stats is a very useful tool. We use it all the time, and it gives really good estimations of what will be encountered. And I think this actually kind of proves it out through equations and the topography of the site and stuff. You can actually determine on their website approximate bank full width measurements. We're at 13.9. We had an average of 13.2. That again is noted all in the NOI how we got average. So I guess I would, the stream stats was very close to the estimation. There was very close to actual measurements. We are providing more than 1.2 times bank full and meeting that requirement. The commission should review the extension use of riprap that's proposed. We are proposing the inlet and outlet around the head walls and wing walls. And we're also, and why it maybe looks like we're using an extensive amount is we're actually also calling for smaller diameter riprap to be placed on top of the head wall. Just as a protection, right here is a proposed guardrail. So this project will have new guardrails. Underneath the rails, we typically put a asphalt milling, so to minimize growth of grass or weeds or whatever it may be. So on the drawings, we try to do that offset of the milling, and then from there, we're just going to put a little bit of smaller diameter rip, 4 to 8 inches. And then this is on the stream side. We have a line right up there and here where we are proposing some larger diameter riprap, upwards of 18-inch stone to protect just this head wall and wing wall area. And then actually on the downstream side, we're doing the wetland replication area. So there's no riprap proposed there. There is, similar to the other side, some smaller diameter riprap just behind the guardrail to the head wall. So for a maintenance purpose, it kind of makes sense. We didn't want to put grass, loam, and seed right here that would have to be maintained over time. And then we do have a small piece of slope protection riprap on this side, which is not within the wetlands. And then I guess number 6, in order to provide appropriate water depth and velocity that a variety of flows, and especially low flows, it's necessary to reconstruct the stream bed within the structure, which we're proposing to do. It's important that the continuous thalweg, deepest portion of the channel, be maintained through the structure. When construction of stream bed, special attention should be paid to the sizing and arrangement of materials within the structure. To prevent failure, all constructed banks should have a height width ratio no greater than 1 to 1.5. It should be tied into the up and downstream banks and configured to be stable during 100 years. The bank should be designed and constructed so as not to hinder riverine wildlife use in the stream bed and banks for passage. All right, sorry, that was a lot. I guess what I'd say there is on our proposed design, I'll give this a second. Did this new drawing come up? This is like a cross section of the structure. You can see we have 2-to-1 slope, so they were pointing out 1 to 1.5 slope should be max. We're actually we call it 2-to-1. They call it 1 to 1.5. It's we just reference it differently. We are proposing a flatter slope than what they're saying the maximum slope should be.
Yeah, I noticed that.
So that's the steeper slopes, which these are intended to tie into the banks once you come outside the culvert. And then we have a parabolic bottom to the stream bed. And, you know, there will be that low spot, going back to the Thalweg. You'll have that low spot as the stream starts running through here. It will create a deeper Thalweg that meets the upstream and downstream side. And with the 1.2 bank full, there'll be some upland area under normal flow conditions that will allow wildlife to pass through there, in addition to fish.
How about a short dissertation on the replantings relative to the shrubbery? You're taking out a lot of, you're going to be taking out all the invasives in the work area, I understand, as part of your NOI.
Yep, that is true.
You're going to be replanting some native species in the areas that to replace what was there.
So our replacement plan. Sorry. Is that visible?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, so we're calling for 14 different plants. They'll be spaced 3 to 4 feet apart. Or actually spaced 4 feet apart, sorry. Their size will be 3 to 4 foot tall when they're installed. Now that is specific to this restoration area. And going back to some of those invasives, this area has a lot of those invasives. So anywhere within this project limit that we're clearing or identifying will be cleared out and removed. Unfortunately, there's significantly more down in this area, but that's outside the scope of this project.
That's too
And
bad.
then along the stream edges, both upstream and downstream, we are proposing the core logs live stakings. So you will get some plant growth, which, you know, the roots will help grow into the banks and help stabilize the banks as well. And that will be both upstream and downstream. As far as other surface repairs over here, this it's kind of hard to see, but there's contours here showing where this washout is. That is all going to be fixed and repaired. And then this is all kind of a grassed area. So that will be restored with loam seed.
You point out the erosion controls.
Yep. So upstream have erosion controls outlined here and down here by the waterway. Again, on the demo plan, we kind of showed this area as being a potential laydown site. So we want to make sure that was outlined with erosion controls. And then on the downstream side, we have erosion controls. Basically, there's all your grading limits, that proposed line. That's a proposed grade right there. So we're going to run a horizontal, or I should say parallel erosion control along that line, catching and running off here. And then we'll have it kind of outlining the work area. Sorry, trying to zoom here. that bubbled line there, that's the existing tree line. So on the north side of the project, we're planning to connect it to the edge of the road, run it down to the tree line, along that tree line, and then again, back to tie in where that project limit is, where the grading limits are.
Okay, Peter, you have any comments on this? Are you happy with the erosion controls and all that good stuff? I assume you are, because you were part of the process here for them designing this.
I'm fine with it.
I didn't hear you.
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
Okay, good, thank you. Shep, I'm gonna ask,
Yeah, any comments from Natural Heritage?
this natural heritage is supposedly not applicable to this one. Is that correct, Dan?
I would actually want to loop Mary into this one a
Okay.
little bit, if you recall.
Yep.
We just received approval from Mass Historical Commission.
Yeah. They want to save the old culvert?
Luckily, no.
It's the 19th Century Industrial Museum wants them.
And then we could save them and have the contractor deliver it if they do.
Yeah, but I mean, is this estimated habitat, any of it?
I don't believe so, no.
I don't think.
No,
Okay,
it was stated that way in the NOI, so I didn't even ask that question. It wasn't applicable. So I would want to point out to the commission, this is a perennial stream. It's under the riverfront protection. It's being treated as a limited project because of the nature of the project. And they've minimized the impacts to the area.
Could I, Ron, just let me know if I can ask some questions at some point.
Oh, sure. Is it relative to this drawing? It's relative.
Relative to the project.
Well, I have.
So one of the questions I had related to this drawing was the lay down area on the right side of this drawing, or actually it's on the other drawing, but does it encroach on that wetlands area there on the side of the road, or is it my imagination?
On this north side of the project area?
Yeah, so I guess that's the north, definitely. Yeah.
Okay, so here's the wetland line, wetland flag 1C1. It's a little grayed out, but it starts there.
Okay.
And it comes across towards the stream and then goes down towards the stream. Stream bank.
Where's the edge of the road?
The edge of the road.
Existing
there.
road is right there. Because I was out there today and it looked like it was pretty swampy there. I don't know. I don't. Who delineated that?
One of our employees at Time Bond, who's a wetland scientist, went out here and delineated all of this.
Okay. So that was my one question there. I had another question about the, I'm pretty new to this, Dan, so please forgive me. And
No problem.
I'm just learning. So I was looking at these openness and height specifications that were given, and there was a 6-foot height goal, and all three of the alternatives, including the one that you've chosen, they all ended up with a 4-foot height. And I was wondering why that was. Is that just limitations of the way the topography is, or?
Potentially trying to match the stream from the upstream to downstream as you go through. I'm sure one side is a little bit lower. You know, the downstream side should have a little bit of elevation change in between the two. What was the 6 foot? Was that stated in the NOI?
That was the goal. That was the goal, and it seemed like none of the 3 alternatives met that goal for 6 feet. So it just kind of popped out at me, and I was wondering why or if what.
I guess I can't comment exactly on why that is. I'd have to go double check.
It's on page 32 of the NOI if you're looking for it.
Okay.
Hey, Harley, it's Pete. I believe in the previous conversations we had in studying that it was a topography thing. They didn't want to raise the road 2 feet and have a hump.
Oh, I see. So
believe.
they could only manage to get 4
To
feet out.
get
of it.
where the ground was, they only had about 4 feet in order to get the coverage that they needed over top of the culvert for structural strength.
Okay, that makes sense to me. I just wanted to understand it.
Is there ledge underneath here?
There was another thing on page 13 that I was curious about. So on page 13 of the NOI, let's see if I can find it. Am I on the right page? I think it's 13. C7B says my notes.
Oh, right, okay.
Let's see if I can find that. It talks about, let's see if I can find it. Give me 1 sec. Sorry. I'm usually more organized. It talks about being exempt. It's checked no as being exempt from the Mass DEP stormwater. But it doesn't check off any of the reasons why that are listed under there. And I'm just wondering what that was about.
Are you guys able to hear me?
Now we can.
Yes.
Okay. I was talking before, but I realized nobody could hear me. Yeah, so there is case law.
So I read that case that was cited, right? Where it was talking about, it was the BCC case, the Berkshire Community College case that got cited. And I saw that later on down in the NOI, and I read through that case, and it seemed like the fact pattern was very different than what we have here. And it talks about point source discharges, and I guess in the BCC case, there were a couple of point source discharges that were outside of the scope of the project. They were well off the site of the project. And in this case, it seemed like the only point source discharge, if you could call it that, would be the dewatering pump and the silt bag system that they're describing. And so I was just wondering how that particular case really applied to provide an exemption in this case, since the fact pattern was so different.
Good question.
Yeah.
So I
guess what I would.
So I
as far as the source for the construction, that would just be a temporary dewatering point source. As far as like the drainage on the site, this proposed project is not intending to change or modify any of the drainage patterns. We didn't want to put a catch basin to collect runoff and then create a point source.
Right. But the rule that they're trying to follow says that there's no point sources during any period, including site prep, construction, and post-construction. So that's part of why I was having a little bit of agita about it. Not that I think it's a major problem, but I just was trying to understand it. Anyway, but I don't know if there's any way to really address that here. But I did want to talk a little bit about the NEWP grass seed products that were being referenced. And there were some discrepancies in the NOI between the products. For example, way down at the bottom in the table where they're listing in the text what product they're going to use. They were talking about using the NEWP erosion control moist mix seed from NEWP. And then in the table, it listed a different product. So I was wondering which one it was, and try to nail that down to make sure that we know which product that's actually being specified. And then the other little bit of that was right way down at the end when we're talking about post construction monitoring. It specifies that that there should be monitoring for 2 full growing seasons, which is the minimum that's provided for under the regulations. And I was wondering whether we might consider, and I'm addressing this to the commission as well, is whether we might consider extending the post-construction monitoring of the success of those plantings to maybe 3 years, and then skip a year and then come back at 5-year point, just to make sure that everything took the way that we wanted it to, and that the invasives didn't come raging back in. And I just wondered whether any of the other commission members had any opinion about that.
This is Ron. The only opinion I had was the fact that Peter will be maintaining this road after it's done, and he can monitor that. If there's any issues with the plantings, or the shrubs, trees, grass, or whatever, that's one thing. And, I'll ask Peter that. If that's something you'll probably be watching yourself, or can watch yourself, as you go along to make sure you're going to stabilize the plantings. In terms of the time, 2 years is standard. And after that, if there's issues, then again, Peter will be watching. That's his road.
So I mean, as I understand the plan, they're going to, and Mary, maybe you could help me with understanding it. Just, immediately post construction, they're going to put down the seed mix, depending on which one they end up with. And that's really just a very temporary sort of keeping soil in place kind of mix, right? Am I understanding that? And then those more mature shrubs that are described are going to get planted. Am I understanding that correctly, or?
Yeah, that's correct. The intention is to use the wet mix. I'm not sure if it was referenced to something else otherwise, in another place, but it is the intention to use the wet mix.
Because there are 3 different products mentioned from NEWP, and they're being used as though they're synonymous, but if you look in the catalog, there are 3 completely different mixes from that company. So I was just wondering which one we were actually going to use. And then I guess I'm asking, Mary, is in your experience, after 2 years when you're planting shrubs and doing so, is it enough to tell whether it's really going to thrive and take and do the thing that we wanted it to restore this wetland area, to make sure that the banks are going to be in good shape going forward over the next 10, 15, 20, 30 years?
Right. I mean, I think, obviously one growing season isn't enough. But when you get to 2 or 3, you should be able to know if the plants are established and they're healthy and they've survived, winter or 2. So yeah, I mean, I would think that's a reasonable amount. Better, longer is better, but we don't want to hold the contractor hostage forever.
We don't?
You know, we're the taxpayers.
Okay, thank you.
Harley?
I'll be quiet now.
Hey, Ron Shep here.
Okay. I have a few questions too when you're done.
Harley, standard practice in other towns, the only one I'm intimately involved with is Great Barrington, is a 5-year monitoring on invasives and survival of planted shrubs, plants and shrubs, to achieve 75% survival for shrubs and 95% trees if there are trees being planted. Recognizing this is a lifelong thing. I mean, if you're managing invasives and restoration of plant populations, 2-3 years is the pejorative would be to say that it was a lick and a promise. But frankly, you need a longer on-ramp, a longer maturation cycle to develop the confidence level. And that's the whole point, the confidence level. So to achieve a certain survival level particularly for things that are planted rather than seeds, but a survival level at 5 years is really important. Because we have many cases where you were at 3, 4, 5, 6 years, it's the jungle of everything you don't want there.
Okay. That makes sense.
Peter, do you have anything to say about that? You
I
still
mean,
there?
the invasives are really tricky, especially when the area is surrounded by other invasives.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, agreed.
That would be my concern. If you got invasives, you're not getting rid of all the invasives in the area, so they're going to come right back in.
Yeah, it's definitely tricky.
Yeah, but the point is you need to, if you've got new things growing, whether they're growing from seed or they're planted or they're shrubs or they're trees or whatever they are, you got to give them a head start. You got to give them room to get going and get set before the bittersweet chokes them out,
Right. Well, even if they're full-blown trees or shrubs, the bittersweet will wipe them out anyway.
How about 6 feet?
Six
Is that what
feet.
you got 3 to 4 feet. You're saying 6 feet on the size of the planting?
Sure.
Well, the bigger the better, for sure.
No, well, no, not necessarily, but I mean, there is a size, a mature, shall we say, an old teenage tree versus a young teenage tree, Ron. I mean, really, we want to give them a chance. We want to see they're going to go, and we want the confidence level and the percentage of survivalship at what year out in the horizon, whether 5 years. If you go to 5 years and you see there's nothing left, the fact that you require them to get it done by 2 or 3 is zero. I mean, it's useless.
No, I wasn't talking about the years. I was talking about the size of the tree to start with. Higher success rate with a 6 foot.
Well, yes, smaller is better, but then you have to really protect the daylights out of them. I agree with you.
Okay.
So I guess my question to the commission would be, do we feel like we should put a longer condition on that? My opinion, having heard this discussion, is that maybe we ought to give it more of a chance to succeed.
Anybody else have anything to say on that in the commission?
Well, I would suggest maybe, what is, Dan or Mary, what is the square footage of the area that we're planting?
It's about 250 square feet.
So, I would propose that we add some more to the quantity so that we give less opportunity for the bittersweet, et cetera, and invasives to come in and have more of a mass, because I can't really see it, but it looks like, what did you say, Dan? You said 14 plants, right?
Correct, yeah. Six silky dogwoods, 4 common winterberry, and 4 speckled alder. Now, the spacing is about 4 feet on center for all those. And just to point out again where this little area is that we're talking about, it's
Yep.
this southeast corner right there. Let me. Okay. And right here, that is the existing tree line, we're calling it, but that's basically the edge of the invasives. If you've been out there, there's a fairly large tree that's been completely overwhelmed by the invasives. That's going to be removed. But we're really only clearing this small little area. And if you go out to the site and you kind of look down this stream, this entire area, like, oh, sorry.
Is that large tree, I think it's a willow, in good shape? Or not? I know it's got invasives on it, but if you clear the invasives, would the tree add to the protection and the value of the area?
I guess my most recent recollection is during the winter time, right? So it's kind of hard to see exactly how, if it's thriving or not. I guess the comment I would say is it is completely covered with invasives that could be removed. But the other thing is it's almost like leaning to the south side here, right? It's adjacent to a overhead utility line, which is right here. And then the tree's somewhere right around here. So it's been trimmed in the past, probably from the utility company. So this whole side by the road has limited branches. And then going this way, there's a lot of branches. You know, I'm not an arborist, but you know, the likelihood of that eventually coming down in a storm being that heavy on one side versus the other wouldn't be surprising if it happened.
Would that be an Air thing, or would that be a computer thing on that tree? To maintain that tree? Since it's
That would be a Peter thing.
it's outside your work area, that's why I asked that.
Yep. And just to be clear, even like the discussion about monitoring and maintaining this for 3, 4, 5 years, whatever it may be, the contract with the contractor, so between the town and the contractor, they have a contract to build this. And then there's a 1-year warranty period with the contract. So anything that fails in that 1 year, they come back and take care of at no cost to the town. Outside that 1 year, like the continued monitoring and modifications, contractors generally wouldn't bid on a project that's going to tie their hands to, you know, making sure invasive of this little area
So the town would
monitored and maintained. So that would fall on Pete's maintenance schedule.
yeah. Pete, do you have anything to say about that?
Yes.
I'm not going to be going any farther than I am now on stuff.
Yeah, I think, you know, there's got to be a reasonableness to what we expect of Pete, you know, it's like.
I'm not a plant
he's not-
specialist. I'm not going in looking at what's evasive and what's natural and what should be there. If it's growing up, I'm going to cut it.
Well, we're talking about yeah, you're talking about the willow, I'm talking about the planted shrubs that we're putting in, whether they survive or not after 2 years, 5 years, or whatever. Doesn't sound like the 2-year inspection would be in the contract of the plant stuff. What Dan's saying there.
And we could, of course, come up and help Pete walk the site, identify concerns and things like that at the 2-year, 3-year. But as far as like the maintenance, and if these trees maybe aren't flourishing and they want to replant them, again, that would go to the town.
Yeah, that's the one. So I guess we could put a special condition in there in terms of the 2 and 5 year inspections. And then it sounds like the town would have to be responsible for repairing it if there's.
This town can only be responsible for what's in the right of way, though.
Pardon?
Town can only maintain and be responsible for what's within the right of way. If stuff goes over the right of way, then we need permission every time we go.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Peter, how would we handle that? I know we have a problem already on the east side, so.
How much of this project is outside of the right of way?
Not too much. I don't have square footage off the top of my head, but if you can still see this line is the approximate right of way. So there's just a little bit of clearing up and over there. So it's a small portion, but to Pete's point, probably at least half of the wetland replication area outside the right of way.
Right. What about on the upstream side?
Upstream, it's a fairly wide right of way. It's about roughly 60 feet. Here's the line, the dark line there. And then here's the limit outside. Again, square footage wise, rough guess, 500 square feet, excluding the stream.
Yeah. Okay. Right.
That's upstream.
Yeah.
Well, I guess what we could do, if everybody votes okay on it, is just specify the inspections at the 2-year, 5-year. And we don't have to specify the responsibilities within the order of conditions. It would be laid back on the town, so whoever does it can be determined at the time. That sound right? No comment?
So I'm not sure what you're saying, Ron. Can you say that again?
We're talking about having the inspections, the facility inspections at the 2-year or maybe 5-year point. If there are issues, who does it? That can be TBD, but the town would be responsible once the contractor leaves, correct?
After a year.
Ron, I would much rather have a request for certificate of compliance on completion plus a report at 3 and 5 years rather than 2 and 5.
The certificate of compliance would not depend on the completion of the 5-year monitoring?
No, not necessarily. No, a certificate of compliance, it can certify the completion of everything but the follow-on.
Okay.
And the follow-on can be whatever it's recited to be.
Who's doing it?
We've done that before.
Whoever's responsible,
Who's responsible?
the applicant.
This is the town.
The town.
Because the Higginbotham and the contractors will be off the hook after the contractors over there.
Well, unless their contract requires them to follow on.
That's right. But we don't have to specify the contract, we just specify the requirement for the inspection, corrective measures. That sound right?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
We don't have to specify contract. We don't have to be tied down by the contract. We just put the requirement on the applicant for the 2, 3, 5 years, whatever we decide upon to do the inspections and do whatever corrective measures are necessary.
The applicant is the town. The Conservation Commission can require a report you know, at the end of the growing season, at 3 years, whatever that is, November 30th or what, you know, on or before, and at 5 years on or before, that's what they got to meet.
And they already have in their NOI, their prepare report at the end of the second year. So they just modify that condition, I don't know, 3 years or whatever, 3 years, 5 years. They do have a report in the NOI. Is that good? Dan, either one.
Sorry, I missed the last part.
You already specified that you'll be generating a report at the end of the 2 years on the plantings in your NOI, correct?
Correct.
I'm pretty sure I read it in there.
Mhm.
And we
2
just-
growing seasons on November 30th.
Yeah, it would be after the growing season, the second growing season.
Yeah, or whatever, it's a agreeable number. Doesn't matter. Much more important is that the report be from somebody who is knowledgeable enough to know what they're reporting on.
Mhm.
Is the tree growing or not, or shrub growing or not? Adam, do you have any comments on that? Is that the right way to go about it?
I can report on it if you like, in 3 years.
Yeah, you're qualified to do that. But we don't have to say who right now, we just say when and then the fact that we need a report at the end of the inspection. After the inspection.
That's a third-party report by somebody who's qualified, and I don't doubt that you are. You are, I know you are. But you have to do it as a third party, not as a member of the town commission.
All right. If Legal Farm can do it at 3 years too, or can they not? I know the contractor won't be able, but Farm is qualified to do the inspection and a report.
Yeah, I think that's ultimately up to the town for
Alright.
who they would like.
Put the requirement in the order of conditions, and the certificate of compliance will reflect that in the end. That sound okay? For 3 years and 5 years? Harley, Pat,
Are you saying 3 years and 5 years or 2 years and 5 years?
recommending.
3.
Yeah. Makes sense. I mean, and then if it didn't take it, the 5 year, we'll have to readdress it somehow.
Well, that's another matter.
Yep.
Hey, Dan, would you mind just showing me the picture with the core logs on the, what was that, on the uphill? The
Yep.
graphic on the uphill side,
The bank, yeah.
on the bank?
It's actually the bank restoration throughout the project limits. So wherever we're grading the bank back into the stream, we
Yeah.
propose this. We
And
propose
those-
to do this replication.
Is that a live staking? And then are the core, are they wattles, or is there seed in those?
There's not seed in them. Generally, I believe coconut fiber. That
That just
Promote-
slowly breaks down?
Yep.
And then what is the live staking of?
That would be, I don't know if Mary has a specific type of plant, but a wetland style plant that would be successful right next to the waterway.
Yeah, I don't think we specified.
Is there a native willow?
Red osier dogwood.
Yeah, I was wondering about a willow. Is black willow native? That anybody knows?
Yeah, I've got a list somewhere, but I have to dig it out, but
I don't know off the top of my head these
All right.
types of questions, but we have folks that could recommend a specific type of planting.
Okay.
all right, anything else on the plantings? Dan, I had one question. This is for This is relative to the drainage basin for this river. You came up with 0.59 square miles. How did you come up with that? Where did you get it from? Is it right off some map somewhere, or did you have to compute it based on this particular river and
So a combination of places. We use the US topo maps that show the contours. And based on those contours, if you draw perpendicular lines, you can identify what that drainage basin area is. But actually going back to that StreamStats software that's right online, you actually zoom into this culvert, this drainage area, pick that location, and it uses a similar method. It just uses the contours that MassGIS published and generates that basin.
I was wondering if there was some map somewhere that showed the watershed drainage area. Actually a computational.
I mean, another way to do it is to use StreamStats.
Yeah.
Yes.
You're using the software to give you numbers. Now, I thought there might be a map somewhere.
There is.
The topographic maps,
Yes.
that's the other way that we use them
Oh,
or define it.
yeah, you had a beautiful picture of the drainage basin in your NOI.
I'm trying to find it right now, but it's not in one sec.
You didn't do it. You drew that map. It didn't come off a map somewhere. That's what I'm wondering. This is my own information because we're looking at watersheds around the valley here. Now, if you can't answer off the top of your head, I don't want to hold you up.
It's figure 2 in the H&H.
Oh, H&H report.
Yeah.
So this isn't, I don't know if this is the US map, but here's a topo map that you could follow these contours and identify the drainage basin.
No, I understand that. I wonder if there was a map somewhere that already said it going on it, or you had to end up drawing it by looking at the topo information. So you answered my question. Oh. There it is.
Here's one.
Oh, those are the cells. That's not the drainage basin. Okay.
So
These are the drainage area maps. And then
There's one in there.
felt like there was the StreamStats in here, but
there is, it's, let me see if I can find it. I definitely saw the StreamStat in there.
Yep.
The number is mentioned on page 2-1. That's about the 20th. And there's a picture in there somewhere. That's okay.
the document was so long, we had to break it up into 4 different files. So
I know.
sorry.
All right.
Yeah, the EDP website wouldn't take it.
Right there.
Nice.
Is it right?
You just do that based on the topographic information off the regular GIS map. Looking at that information, that drawing yourself, but that drawing didn't get pulled out of some other database somewhere.
Nope, this is actually auto-generated from that StreamStats website.
Gotcha. Okay,
It's a very useful tool.
I guess I'm not familiar with it, but sounds like it's useful. Okay.
So Ron, just wanted to circle back one more second on this plan for the monitoring. So in the NOI document, it starts on page 181 or 2, and it talks a lot. It's 184. It talks about monitoring, and I just want to make sure what exact changes we're making here, if any, to what's in this schedule, what's supposed to be in the reports, how the reports are supposed to be submitted. So is that going to be a change to 5.3, which is on page 185? And just wanted to make sure that we've got the language in there so that when we leave tonight, we've voted on this and got these guys started.
Where is it? I can't read that.
Were you saying this was in the NOI?
It's, yeah, in the NOI on page 184 of the document.
184?
Yeah.
It's, Appendix F.
That's not the document page number. You're talking about the file page number.
You went deep.
It's section 4, the plan implementation. 4.1 is talks about designated wetland specialist will monitor replacement area construction activities. There's a construction sequence. There's how they're going to excavate, what they're going to mulch with, how they're going to irrigate it, you know, invasive species control. There's a lot of detail that they're promising here. And if we're going to change that schedule, which is on, which is at the end of that, then we need to know what that language is so that when they leave tonight, they know what they're up for. Nice cat, Shep.
Thank you. Thank you, Harley. Yes, hey, the section there, which is contingent upon a wetland scientist doing all this stuff. All we're doing there is specifying the job spec for what consultant is going to do.
Well,
We're not doing it.
well,
They're going to
actually-
do it.
Yeah, actually, it says at the
And
very
the
top.
burden and the. Go ahead.
At the very top of it says section 5 monitoring, I'm reading, quote, the town will be responsible for implementing this plan, including the monitoring and reporting requirements outlined in 5.1, 5.2, 5.3, et cetera. So that's squarely put on the town.
I think
Yes.
that-
Mention of that.
However, who's producing this proposed plan?
Town. This belongs to the town. This is not our plan.
I don't know who it belongs to. Who's proposing it?
The applicant.
Hello.
It's the town of-
Really, Harley, you get to approve it.
This is not our plan. It's not the
No.
town's plan, it's the town's plan.
And listen, people, listen to me. In every case, under the Wetlands Protection Act, the burden of going forward is on the applicant. All you have to do is decide yes or no. And if no, or if not, then you get to add conditions. That's it. It's very simple.
All we've ever done. Now, the monitoring plan for the plantings, they've specified a 2-year with a report on November the 30th after the second year. We're going to change that.
Yeah, to 3 years and 5 years.
They actually, the reporting says, right now, it says no later than November 30th on each calendar year for a period of 2 full growing seasons. So we're
Yeah.
going to change that each year for 3, or we're going to say each year for 2. And what are we going to specify? Let's get that language
Well,
done.
The end of the growing season is November 30,
Okay.
okay?
Yeah.
So now, the initial interim report would be on maybe 3 years, and then after that, 5 years.
Nothing after 1 year.
Yeah, listen, November 30 on 1 year, they just barely got them in the ground. There's nothing going on.
Well, the first annual report will document the implementation of this plan. The second,
Yes.
and third will be submitted in draft form for the commission's review and comment.
And approval.
Yeah, and so and then we're going to say, well, we're going to say, we need to change that language if we're going to set this up.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what the conditions will do.
So
We're not changing
Do you
the-
want me to draft, while I'm sitting here for a few minutes, draft what it should look like for a 3 and a 5 as a condition?
Sure. Harley, you're the best resource we got. Go to it.
So I'm going to try to come up with some language in the next 2 or 3 minutes, and I'll be quiet and get out of everybody's hair.
We have a wannabe lawyer on the commission. Okay, where were we? So, any other commissioners have any questions? I have one minor one, or two minor ones. We're gonna provide a contingency plan for storm events as part of this thing. Are we gonna see that? I didn't see anything in there that you provided to us. Are you gonna provide it to your contractor? Ma'am?
For, I may have missed that, a plan for rain events.
Yeah, something.
So we'll require the contract. Sorry.
And that's gotta be part of your contract. If there's a storm event or some damage done to the erosion control or whatever, you've got a plan in place for the contractor to take action. You know why?
Correct.
Just making sure.
Yeah, well, the project will contain lines and a project manual, and the project manual has a lot of details about how the contractor has to maintain the site.
The other thing you mentioned, you have a weekly inspection. Is that gonna be by a contractor or by you guys?
We will be supporting town with a part-time field observation for the construction. So while somebody comes up to check on the construction, we'll be looking into all this to make sure, you know, what the contractor set up is appropriate and matches the drawings. And if, you know, it's starting to fail and they need to touch it up or replace certain pieces, we will comment to them at that while we're on the site.
Okay. You're gonna be doing that invasive cutback or control there. That's just inside of the work limit line, or Peter, you didn't ask for anything more than that? Within the easement, I mean? I know it's only, I think I heard Dan say it's only gonna be within the work limit, except maybe for that willow. But there's more invasives there than, you know, just outside that work limit line. We have no intent to do a little more control of the invasives.
As the plan is right now, it's just within the limits of work.
Yeah.
I guess I would just add to that, a little bit of the concern there is a lot of those invasives, especially on the side, is past the right-of-way line. So to go and try to control that would need full permission.
Yeah, that's why I said inside the right-of-way line. Outside, I wish you could do that too, but that, you don't have any control over it, or any say over that. But in terms of the north-south, within the right-of-way, you're only going to be doing it inside the work limit line, is my question. You're going to continue along the right-of-way if you're not inside of it.
I think the plan is just within the limits of work within the right of way right now.
Yeah, 'cause I'm talking about here and
I mean,
here.
it's continuing down the street.
Is this the area you're talking about, Ron, in between the right-of-way and over here?
Yeah, my concern is if there's invasive out here and it's in your right-of-way, you don't want that cleared. Or controlled, I should say, you really can't clear it. It's just- That was my question for Peter.
I guess it's up to Pete, but we could add a clearing limit line and change this erosion control down right along the right-of-way.
Yeah. Now, when you clear, you're just gonna basically cut them down, dig them up, and get rid of that site, or you can actually try to kill them.
Yeah, I think we call it clearing and grubbing. So you cut everything down and then you grub out any of the, there's probably not too much roots, but kind of clean that out. my guess is they'd use an excavator with the teeth and just scrape it all up right out.
Yeah, because that would give the replantings a better chance if you got rid of that stuff outside there, I would think. Okay,
I think that restoration would likely just be loam and seed. It's kind of adjacent to this abutter here who has grass in this area.
yeah. Well, if the Conservation Commission had its way, since it's a river, we'd love to see the whole 200-foot there forested. But this is our open land, so.
Yeah, I mean, you can chase them all over the place.
Yeah, I know. Okay, we talked about limited project. Oh, the Eversource planting. We were told by you guys, when we gave you the certificate of compliance for the Eversource project, that there were some plantings required on their NOI that you would take responsibility for. And I think that side of the road, along behind the bank on the southern side of the bank.
Yep, so I was just going over this today. So what we were thinking would be a good plan would be 12 additional plantings of the same type that are going in the wetland replication area, but along the bank. Where that, like, you know, where wetland 1A3 in that area.
Okay, so the same species as you have proposed for the other areas?
Exactly.
Mary, is this the area right here?
Yeah, on the left side. I forget which direction that is. West, southwest.
Yeah, right in here somewhere. Yep, you might remember the exact area, because I know it was over here, but
I think it was from this was the utility pole here.
Yeah, that was a utility pole that failed and put oil onto the road and had to be.
Right.
They
But
took
I
out some-
believe that replication area would have been in this vicinity.
Yeah, and there's nothing there right now, it's completely open. And the agreement was made and the certificate of compliance in the Eversource project, that the plantings would be done as part of this project by the town or whoever is responsible.
Mhm.
So,
That will be on the contractor to install, similar to
that's up,
wetland replication.
and we're gonna put that into the order of conditions.
The Eversource agreement has nothing to do on the town side, so that's between you guys. The town was like, from the DPW side, when the whole Eversource issue happened, that was never put on to us.
Yep, we had a certificate of compliance for that was. And this was with Dig and Bomb again.
I believe the town assumed
It made no sense
responsibility.
to put those plantings in because they would have torn up by this project. So the agreement was to put them in as part of this project rather than the previous project. And Eversource is the one who was really responsible, not the town, on that Eversource project. That was very right away. Shep, you might want to speak up on this because I think you're the one that raised the issue. You hear me, Shep? Are you on?
Yes, I can hear you. I'm ruminating.
Okay.
What? So what's the deal? So this is all laid off on the town, and the town has to, bite the bullet and plant the plants, or what?
I thought that was the agreement. Because we let Eversource off the hook, because it wouldn't make any sense to have that done as part of their project, because it would have been dug up right away for this project.
Yeah.
But
You're
the
a
town
little
was never
garbage.
notified. So I was never notified about extending my project because Eversource didn't want to.
Yeah, Pete, I understand that, Pete. Ron, you have to step back and be a permit granting authority excuse me, but whatever the commission decides has to be done, whoever the applicant is, whether it's the town or Joe Blow or the DPW or Eversource or whoever it is.
All right, so we should not lay this back on Feigenbaum and his second project. It ought to be laid back.
No, it's not Time Bond. They're a consultant to the town, so.
To Eversource too, the same company, same designer.
Yeah, right.
Okay, then we can't specify that.
So the commission should be making its decision as to what should be done, period. And whoever is graced with that mantle gets to live with it. Or they get to appeal it. And you go to Boston and talk to the DEP.
Well, we made that decision, I thought, and we put it in the certificate of compliance for the Eversource thing. But we have to lay it back onto the town, not to Feigenbaum, not to Eversource, not to the contractor.
Yeah, but this is really a teeny weeny issue. Let's work through it and get it done.
That's what I'm saying. Get it done. What are you saying? Don't understand what you're saying, Chuck. Do we not make it part of this project? They're going to have the resources there. They're going to be planting already. It'll be a simple thing if it's part of their project. So we need to go back to Eversource. We're too late for that probably because we did certificate of compliance for it already.
Are we getting into a realm that has nothing to do with what the core of this project is, which is replacing the culvert?
But they're doing a lot of land disturbance. They got a planting plan as part of the restoration. And the issue we're talking about is right in the area where they're going to be digging. That's why it was agreed that it would be done as part of this project, or maybe not. So,
If I could quickly,
take it back and make sure it gets done. With Peter, with Danielle, we'll back off on this thing, but it's going to be done as part of the project, but maybe not.
I guess if I could add quickly, we talked about this a little bit. On this restoration side, we are planning to add plantings to those live stakings along this entire, actually on all four edges, but you were basically talking about this portion of the project area. There will be some plantings along that stream restoration.
Well,
I don't know if that qualifies for what was originally agreed to. I don't know that background, but I just wanted to point it out.
Yeah, we certainly don't know on the commission side, but it's entirely appropriate to approve the project conditional on some sort of a planting plan to be proposed mutually or one-on-one or whatever, subject to commission approval subsequently. It's perfectly okay.
that's what I was saying. Okay.
Okay, I'm back for my little drafting exercise. I put in the chat box the language for the first, third, and fifth calendar years. I don't know if you guys can see that. Is that your cat purring?
Yeah, it is. She's in heat.
Oh my goodness. So this, this is just a modification of the language that was in 5-3. Like the rest of the, I think I'm personally on my opinion about the rest of that plan they put together, looks good to me. It's just the monitoring of it. So this would change, this condition would just change that timeline of when these reports would get given to the commission to look at.
Yeah,
One comment. So just in section 5.1, 2 reports or 2, yeah, data will be collected. 2 times during the first post-construction growing season. So I think that was the reason why the first growing season was left out of the 5.3. Just mentioning that, but
Mary,
I
you
don't
went,
think it says that a report will be submitted, so that's where it might be worth including that as well.
call this a plan or restoration plan? A revegetation plan rather than just planting implies the whole project.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
You're a little faint, Rod.
Is that right?
Yeah.
So in 5.1,
It's the third bullet.
No, I can't find anything increased my microphone volume. Here, but, anyway,
Oh, no, you're right. These submaterials will support the second annual monitoring. No, you're right. Never mind. Ignore me.
the first report will document the implementation of this to be something plan rather than just plan.
I'm sorry, I still can't hear you.
I don't know what's going on. There's a lot of screeching going on with somebody here on somebody's microphone. I don't know who it is. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you're a little muffled. Maybe there's something over your
Microphone?
microphone.
I don't even know where my microphone is. It's where my
Yeah,
camera-
I don't either.
Okay, reports will be submitted to the Conservation Commission no later than November 30th of the first, third, and fifth calendar year for a period of 5 full growing seasons. The first report will document the implementation of this growing plan or just plain plan. The second report will be submitted at the end of the third growing season. Third report will be submitted at the end of the fifth growing season. The second and third reports are completed in draft form for the commission's review and comment. We can fine tune this when Shep is writing up the order of conditions, but the essence of it, I think, is there. Nobody else has a comment. Okay, we'll consider that as one of the special conditions. I'm getting noise from somebody here. I don't know who it is. Okay, let's move on. We already talked about the alternatives analysis. We did a nice alternatives analysis here. I don't have any problem with that. You chose the third option. Well, basically on cost, but as good as any of the other ones, I think, right, Peter? And those are my comments. Anybody else have anything?
No.
Nobody? You all can hear me, right? I don't know what's going on with my microphone.
I
Okay,
can hear you.
anybody have any other comments or any special conditions? Now, there's a lot of special conditions that are right in that NOI. So Jeff, we're gonna have to reference the sections of that NOI that they have offered up. If they're not in our special conditions, but they're in there, and as far as I'm concerned, they're valid. Other than the one with the growing season sections. But I would make a motion to, I won't make it yet, but I'm gonna make sure we're gonna put in our standard conditions and special conditions will be those that are in the NOI. That's what we just talked about, that's what we're doing. That sound reasonable, everybody?
Second,
Everybody knows what our standard conditions are, so I think most of them are covered already, but. So I'll make a
Roll
motion
call, Ron.
with that.
Roll call.
Absolutely. I'll make a motion. We'll have a second, or did you second already, Madam? Madam, did you second them?
yes, I did.
To approve with the standard conditions plus the special conditions on the monitoring of planting. Roll call, Ron, aye. Adam,
Aye.
Dan,
Aye.
Pat,
Aye.
that's it. Harley,
Aye.
good. John,
Aye.
and Jeff.
Yeah,
Thank you all. I guess we were done with that one. It took longer than I thought. It's a big project. Dan and Mary, appreciate it. I guess Jeff will be issuing an order of positions in the near future.
Thank you, and thank you for your
Right.
time.
Thank you,
Thank you very
guys.
much.
I'm gonna unshare this thing.
Yeah, they're in here. Thank you, everyone.
Good night.
Okay. We have a representative for Theodore Moeller here. Guess not. Okay, Mr. Levy has been waiting for a while. So maybe I'll jump to his agenda item. Move to agenda item 4A, Top Road. Original NOI 271-089, continuation completion December 2017. Oh, Andy's online, I see him. And Andy sent out his response, and I forwarded it to all of you this afternoon, if anybody had a chance to look at it. Let me get it out here. I got a picture on my desk. Second, I'm gonna stand up. Andy sent in a response from our questions from the team relative to the certificate of compliance of the fact that the was installed in the 200-foot resource here versus the gravel driveway that was in the drawings. Responded to that, and I supported it for all of you. And with some photos. I am happy with it. Andy, do you have anything more you want to say?
I think the explanation kind of covers it, unless the commission has any questions or comments. Happy to address them.
What I was concerned about was the runoff. That 200-foot resource area is supposed to protect that stream down there. Erosion is flowing down the hill. The forest is supposed to do that. And when we wanted to run the driveway and part of it, we okayed it in our order of conditions back a year or so ago, maybe that would remain gravel. If it's gravel, pervious and asphalt is not now. Andy challenged me on that. And when I saw the table, he sent me an email there relative to the pervious. I only have one question on the table. Gravel. What is that noise?
Shep, I think you might have to mute out.
Somebody's speaking out there. You got some mic or something. Anyway, is that me doing that? There's a cat there coming.
Yeah.
Shep, can you hear me?
Somebody here.
Shep, I
Shep.
think
Come in, Shep.
you got to mute.
Mute, Shep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Didn't help. I don't think. I'm sorry. This is.
Hey, what?
Not like a cat. Everybody's muted except for Deanna and Andy and myself. And I don't hear it anymore.
There it goes.
Anyway, I was reading the response from Andy in the email this afternoon there. And I noticed that this table indicates that the gravel driveway is only a couple % more pervious than the hardtop. And it's hard to believe, but I have to ask a question. Are we talking about saturated gravel or just when a storm starts, it takes a while, a certain amount of water gets absorbed by the gravel before it becomes less pervious and it would run off after that. So I don't understand this table.
Yeah, so that's a great question. That is effectively, it's not really a percentage, it's a curve number. So what that takes into account is it kind of varies because you can apply a storm event, say a water quality storm event or a 1-inch storm event, and there's an absorptive capacity of a specific cover type. So it could be grass or full forested with leaf litter. That curve number is associated with the cover type and the soil characteristic. So you can see in that table that the curve number decreases with the improved hydrologic soil group. So a hydrologic soil group A is very permeable. It's a sandy gravel type soil that has a much lower curve number because the rainwater infiltrates much more easily in that type of soil. So it takes into account both the cover type as well as the absorptive capacity of the soil. And so you can see in a gravel condition, it really, when you have a hard compacted gravel driveway over time, like an item 4, once it becomes compacted, it has a very low absorptive capacity. It doesn't take much. It doesn't absorb much in a rain event before it becomes effectively quote unquote saturated, because you do have so many fines like a stone dust that swell and essentially make it impermeable. You really have to create a pervious, it's got to be a washed, crushed material of a very, non-graded size so that it's all the same diameter, has a lot of void space. Consequently, that doesn't pack very well as a driveway material. So
Like trap rock or something.
yeah, exactly. Or pea stone, it just pushes all over the place. So it doesn't make a great driveway material. You want a large spectrum.
But anyway, just trying to understand that because we've had problems with this before. The
Sure.
curb, we try to keep a buffer zone or resource area. If people have to put a driveway through there, even though we don't like it, we want it to be as pervious as possible. I don't know, what's the best surface for maximum perviousness? Not the trap rock.
It's really tough. I mean, unless you're doing, sorry, Ron, say again.
Well, or trap rock underneath gravel or something like that, where you have a base of 12 inches.
Yeah, a pervious pavement's an option. That is, it's a highly specified material, or a pervious kind of paver. They've done driveways out of that. Those are challenging as a driveway material for snow removal and that sort of thing. And the pervious paving is a costly option. It's tough to put a drivable surface in and make it pervious in perpetuity. Even with pervious pavement, there's quite a bit of maintenance that has to happen because you do get fines, dust, road dust, anything from tires. It fills the voids. You have to vacuum it periodically to keep it a pervious surface.
Yeah, pressure washer or vacuum, one or the other. It's a maintenance.
Yeah, really, almost like a big, like a leaf vac or almost industrial truck vacuums that really need to get good suction out of that porous pavement to keep it maintained.
I just want to understand, in terms of what you offered here and the fact that you described your drainage systems, and the driveway is graded so that water flows away from the resource area. And that drainage system collects it and looks like it sends it down to the rain garden. Is that the picture I saw?
Does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the roof leaders, the footing drains, and that catch basin where all that runoff from the driveway that's directed to the inside of the bend, that all ends up and is treated in the rain garden.
Yeah. Rain garden was a great idea, by the way. Whose idea was it? Mr. Levy's or yours?
I
It
think it was
certainly wasn't
we ended up.
What's that?
It certainly wasn't.
Okay. Anyway, it's very nice. It does the job. I think it'll do the job. I'm okay with that. And anybody else have any questions? Whatever.
So I just wanted to say that, what you sent today confirmed, basically what I was seeing when I went out there on the site visit. It looked like it was designed in a way that wouldn't impact the resource area or was doing the best job possible not to. I just wish that this had been in the original plan so that we wouldn't have had to have this conversation now. It just would have been more efficient to do it that way. I don't know whether it just, when they got to that part of the project, they said, oh, this isn't going to work. We got to do this. I don't know how that happened, but anyway, it looks like you've done a good job from what I could see.
And that's what I was saying in the last meeting or 2 meetings ago with another driveway, that we probably need to rewrite our standard conditions relative to perviousness and more, a better solution than just gravel. If we're concerned.
Really, again, because of the challenges that presents, and sorry if I'm being presumptuous or whatever, but I think one of the things that the commission could focus on is really the treatment and or management of that runoff more so than a pervious, because it's, as I say, it's very challenging. It takes a lot of upkeep to maintain a true pervious drivable surface that isn't a porous paver. And again, even those become clogged over time. They're great in concept. They take a lot of maintenance. So I think really one of the points that should be, I think, emphasized is the routing and kind of treatment, if you will, rain gardens, and slowing down the discharge rate of that runoff from the driveways and resource areas.
So you're suggesting that we should rewrite the storm management manual for Massachusetts?
No,
A little bit. I'm just joking. No,
I deal with it. I deal with it all the time.
I appreciate your input. Absolutely.
We need to take our standard conditions.
Also,
optimal to do is keep the driveways out of the buffer zones and resource areas.
It's the word pervious that is complicating the driveway situation. There's really no such thing as a pervious driveway unless you use that interlocking block with the soil and grass in between, and that's an inordinate expense.
Well, if they propose it, that's fine, but the applicant proposes it. It probably would satisfy our requirements, but the optimal situation is to keep these driveways out of buffer zones where possible, or resource areas.
Ideally,
because we have another RDA that has a problem with that. Okay. I'll make a motion to.
I can't take credit for the driveway.
Pardon?
No, I was just saying credit goes to the landscaper Winona Webster and the builder Mike Shields. Shields builders. They're the ones who executed the plan and managed the storm runoff the way that they did.
The credit is yours then, Winona. A very nice landscaping job. Several of us visited and it was very nice. That was our only concern, was that drainage off that driveway.
And the basketball, but that was another. So, Ron, did you make a motion?
I did want to just say, sorry, I had to take myself off of mute here because I'm dealing with this on another project, and that the impervious surface is a tricky one, because if you focus entirely on that, you're not focusing on the buffer zone off of these driveways, and that to focus on how this water moves off of even a gravel driveway is important, so that we make sure that we're filtering and slowing down any water going down. And as we've gotten to see this rain garden work over the last 2 years, it really works. It captures the water, it filters it, it slows it down. And all the water that's coming in off the site has already filtered through plantings and grasses, and that there is absolutely no silt coming out into that rain garden. So it's completely clear of water. And I think that probably is the most important thing, is that we're really not having silting happening anywhere on the site. And that was my main goal.
That's the first rain garden I've seen in any of our applications, so I was impressed by it, and they stole them. And we'll have to remember that for projects, everybody, as a solution, possible solution. Okay, I'll make a motion that we approve this certificate of compliance after reviewing the updated data that we received today. Do I have a second?
I second it.
I will do a roll call vote. Ron, aye. Adam,
Aye.
Dan,
Aye.
Pat,
Aye.
Harley,
Aye.
John,
Aye.
and Shep.
He's on mute.
Oh, he's right. Where is he?
Muted.
Shep, can you?
Shep, raise your hand if you have an eye. Just raise your hand.
There he goes.
Shep, aye. Thank you guys for waiting so long after the first hearing. We're waiting. NOIs, Mr. Levy.
I'm sorry.
We'll be waiting to do certificate of compliance for the next two NOI.
Abstain.
Pardon?
Abstain.
There was an abstain here somewhere?
Yes.
Shep abstained.
Oh, I thought you approved it.
Shep abstained.
Circle gets the square.
Okay. All righty.
Thank you all.
That's the end of it.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Very funny.
I thought when you raised your hand, you were saying aye. Okay. Back to agenda item 3. Request for determination of applicability from Theodore Moeller, property at 950 West Road, map 407, lot 23. The applicant seeks to construct a new gravel driveway branching off an existing gravel driveway in a buffer zone to reach a residential house site outside the buffer zone to the west. Do we have a representative, Mr. Moeller, here? I guess not. Anyway, Shep and I visited the site, and I've been looking at did I say NOI? I meant RDA. I had some questions on it, which since there's no representative here, they won't be answerable. The drawing, and maybe I can show it here. I guess I can't. Hold on. Let's see if I can find it.
Ron,
Yeah,
can you hear me?
I can. I'm just doing a share of the drawing. There it is. Can you see that? This is the drawing that came with the RDA.
Yeah.
Stepping up-
Okay, when we do this,
Pardon?
do you want me to do this?
If you want to go ahead and do that, I have some questions here because I don't understand.
Okay. Okay, I'll do it. Okay, this is West Road. At the very south end of West Road. I mean, you come in off of State Road, under the railroad tracks, and you go around a little loop-de-loop, and you come up, and all of a sudden, this is on the left. It's just before the house that is there on the right that used to have a big trout pond and stuff that was diverted out of the brook to feed it. No longer. We've got a property with adequate frontage. It meets.
Hold on a second. I'm just trying to get this other drawing up there.
Yeah. It meets zoning. It meets zoning. And in the southwestern corner, quadrant, if you will, of the property, there's a BVW. It's a bordering vegetated wetland to the brook, which is running down the whole valley, all the way along West Road. Down here, I can't show it to you, but it's there.
It is I got this cursor going around. This is the area that's GIS calls a deciduous swamp. This area here.
Yeah.
Line. Then out here is the 100-foot buffer zone to that thing.
So now, there is a property owner to the south with a house that exists, and you can see the driveway going in, turning left and going out to the house there. That exists. It's been permitted. This is not a, renegade driveway. This is permitted. Okay. The owner of the lot in question.
Can I ask a question here?
Just let me finish one sec. What's being proposed is to come in on the existing driveway and then cutting up to the northwest and to the west to a house site over here, over there, whatever that is. We've been to the site. We did a site visit. Ron and I were there. The stream in question, which is the wetland resource object of the resource area and the buffer zone and all that, is at a much lower level, closer to the road where we came in and crossed over it. I think it's a 50-50 case. I think, this is one of those situations where you're going to ride on the regs, ride on the regulations. Is this a regulatory challenge that's going to set a precedent, or is this a big problem? I think it's more of the former than the latter.
This driveway, was it ever permitted by us? This existing driveway? And that's the first question. The second question, was this lot subdivided? Because why would this driveway be over on this lot? If it was never, subdivided. And that's what I don't understand, because I don't know why we'd ever permit something like this. Because this is pretty much flat land out here with slight slopes. This is a strange place for a driveway. And then they're proposing, is this considered, what are they trying to make a common driveway here? This or just this part here? Because a common driveway would be right here, right? Or not? Because I don't understand this RDA. That's what I'm trying to say. You guys can see my cursor moving here, right?
Yep, I can see it. It's weird that that driveway, the existing one, goes over the other person's property.
Yeah, I don't understand why that driveway is even here in the first place. And even if this was all one lot once upon a time, why would we ever permit this driveway right here, which is right on the edge of this is a deciduous swamp over BIS. It's not just a word for it. And there's significant slopes here too. So that's my first question. So I assume this is the existing driveway that was permitted once upon a time, but they took a lot of trees down in here.
Where's the house supposed to go?
It's up here. They've got the foundation in now. It's up here. It's outside the buffer zone, it looks like. But this is not.
So is it?
They put the wall is in, they got electrical lines. So there is a utilities. They did some serious clearing here relative to trees just to do this thing. And, especially up here. And they didn't, if they had taken it off from here.
Right. Why can't they do that? Why can't they, not necessarily all the way over there, but, midpoint between what's proposed and where your arrow is?
Yeah.
They can, they'd be, 100?
That's exactly
can't
what
really
I
see
felt, Alan. I just don't understand what they did here. Maybe this was done years ago, but I don't think they ever got our permission to do that. And this is not a difficult terrain to put driveways in. I don't know why they did that. They're going through the woods here. This is all wooded. And it's all open field here. So, Shep, you're more familiar with this. We took a quick look just before dark the other night, and that's what I observed.
Shep's gone.
Taking a lot of big trees down. I don't know if they came from the actual house site or if they came because they put this utility, I'm calling it a utility path here. And so I'm not sure where they're proposing this driveway. So what are we asking us to approve? Just this common driveway here that already existed, but I'm not even sure that it totally existed once upon a time. It's pretty new here. So we got some questions here. I don't think we can make a determination on this tonight.
Continue.
Let us continue. We need to get a representative here, the contractor or the engineer, whatever. There's serious work going on up there. And so
You already put in the extension on the drive?
you got the utilities underneath here. Get this well dug. They had to put in a temporary. They got some large trap rock put in. Trees cut and large trap rock to get this. The electrical utilities are underground here too, and they're sticking up hopefully outside the buffer zone. But we didn't have any way we could work it when we looked at it. We even had a hard time finding the well.
Hey, Ron,
Sure.
How did they get to the new foundation if the driveway's not there?
Well, I think they may have intended this to be the driveway. I don't know. It's been cleared, a lot of large trap rock put down. Like, obviously had to bring in a drilling rig. They put a trench in, they got the utilities sticking up out of the ground, probably came from the road somewhere.
Can you point to where you said the house was again?
It's up here on the slope. It looks like it might be
No,
outside.
the foundation there, they must have, how did they get up there?
Oh, they've cleared. This is all cleared.
Okay,
But we don't know if that's their intended driveway.
yeah,
It is,
there you go. That's one question.
Like Adam said, they could have been coming in this way. It probably would have been easier, actually. Lovely. So we got this question, so we're gonna have to contact this guy. Driveway to be common. Number two, is this thing permitted? Start with, because there's something there. And I don't understand why they even came this way. This must have been one lot once upon a time, and they could have come in this way if this was always two lots.
Yeah, weird.
So we need a better
The
definition.
motion for continuation.
Continue this public meeting to February the 9th. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'll do a roll call. Ron, aye. Adam, aye, as I heard.
Yep.
And aye. Right?
Aye.
Yeah, I'm listening rather than looking at the screen for your raised hands. Pat,
Aye,
Harley,
Aye.
John,
aye,
Shep,
Yeah,
okay, it's continued.
Who's crackling?
Okay.
Give me a piece.
Get the agenda back out. Somebody's eating dinner. Okay, 3B, request determination of applicability from Wood Environment and Infrastructure Solutions on behalf of CSX Transportation Incorporated. The subject property is the entire railway right-of-way through Richmond. The applicant is seeking a determination whether the boundaries of the wetland resource areas depicted on 13 plans and/or maps submitted by the applicant are accurately delineated. Continued from December the 8th. Shep, the ball game again. You all hear that when I read that? 'Cause my audio wasn't working right there.
well, excuse me, I have a mouthful.
No, I mean,
Okay,
my audio. Okay, go ahead.
okay. We have three peer reviewers who will be willing to bid to participate, to be the experts who advise us on this matter. Pat Geckler, no, Pat Garner, longtime member of the Mass Association of Conservation Commissions Board, a peer reviewer of repute, a very good guy.
Hey, Shep, can I interrupt you?
Highly qualified to do this sort of work.
Can I interrupt you? You gave us the names of these people last meeting, and you were going out to get the bids from them. Did you go out, get the bids, and have you got any responses? I guess that's all we need to know. Right?
I'm sorry, I can't understand you. What?
You asked for a bid from these three people.
No. I was asking if they were willing to be bidders to compete for this.
And they all said yes.
Well, Pat said yes. And the other two said yes.
So they're working on their bids, is that it? Are they or are they not?
I'm sorry. I know you're impatient, Ron, but these are difficult times and people need to have time to respond to things.
I understand. I just want to know the status of the responses.
I have,
That you identified them in the last meeting, right? And you were asking.
I knew who they were. Yes.
Now for the entertainment part of our,
The next one is Emily Stockman. Have you ever had her to work for you? Do you know Emily Stockman?
I've met her, but I'm not.
Okay. She's arguably one of the better wetland scientists working this side of the Connecticut River. And the DEP feels the same way. And the other is Brian Grabler of Oxbow Associates. Now, Oxbow Associates is a big deal in the northeastern United States. They do a lot of work for the EPA, particularly when it comes to river restoration work and so forth. And I met them first when they were consulting with the EPA on the Housatonic. So the principal there is Brian Butler. And Brian is ready, willing, and able, wants to see the paperwork. And we have 3 really good people that are willing to do this. Now, let me explain to you what it is we're asking them to do. We are asking these people to take a look at the right-of-way that the railroad company has from Connecticut up into West Stockbridge, starting at the West Stockbridge Richmond line, and then going up through town. You know where the railroad runs, all the way up, and the wetlands jurisdictional areas next to that, and the private wells and water sources adjacent to that. And these records are like 10 years old or something, or more. And somebody is going to sign on the bottom line and certify that these are correct. The applicant is asking the commission to certify, to sign off that these are the boundary lines of wetland restoration areas that need to be protected when they go through spraying whatever they're going to spray and doing whatever they're going to do. You want the best. You want the good people to be evaluating and delineating the resource areas that need to be protected. You need people who understand what endangered species habitat boundary lines are really about.
Understand, and we agree with that. The question is, what's the status? Are they doing the quotes now? They have your statement of work, I assume.
No. No, what we have is an agreement to be participants.
Oh, I thought we were farther than that. Okay, so
Well, okay, wrong, but these are difficult times, Ron. We have people who are capable and qualified, rationally recognized authorities on these subjects who will give you a good answer you can rely on.
Okay, I guess.
And they bill CSX.
You've got to get the bids, and that's where we are. We've got qualified.
Yeah, okay, fine. Bids. The truth between you and me, the important thing is to find the good people who are willing to bid.
You've got them, you said. You got.
I said I did. Yes, we do.
Okay.
So what are we doing? Are we choosing one today, tonight?
No. We are asking them to spend the next 2 months probably preparing bid documents. You probably don't understand the scale of this.
No, I understand the scale. It's a lot of railroad. Is CSX paying for this, or is the town paying for this?
Oh, no. Not the town. No. This is CSX.
But it's up to us to choose.
Yes, absolutely.
All right.
By state law, we have the opportunity to invoke state law and bring these people in.
Okay.
To advise us, but not only that, I mean, this is a wonderful thing. We have the opportunity to bring them in to compete against each other, or if you will, bid against each other, and bid on the job as it's described. So we'll see, but we got them all. We got 3 good ones.
So what are we making a motion on for this?
No, I don't think there's a motion on the floor, but if you want to, you can, to proceed to solicit
These 3.
bids from all 3 of them. Pat Garner, Emily Stockman, and Brian Butler of Oxbow Associates.
Okay. I thought we had already done this, but I'll make a motion to pursue getting bids from these 3 companies that you.
Okay.
Second it.
And all in favor, I will roll call. Ron, aye.
Harley, aye.
Adam, I.
Dan, I.
Pat?
Yep.
Jeff? John, aye.
Aye.
Yep.
Aye.
Better be aye, was your idea.
I couldn't hear you, but I thought it might be me.
Okay, let's move on to the next one. This is related to the storm down trees authorization and follow-up. Shep, you gave them authorization to clear a large tree that fell during that storm a while back. You also mentioned that tree took down some other trees, and we're in the scenic mountain area. Did you expect some replantings of any sort? Yep, question for you.
Okay.
You gave authorization for cutting up and moving a large tree on 751 East Road back a while ago after that severe storm we had. And my understanding.
Was that a dead tree?
No, you didn't say it was dead. But it took down several other trees when it came down. And my question.
Oh, 751, yes. Right. Okay.
My question to you is, should we be
I got it.
replant some of these
Okay.
trees, take them down? Sounds like, sounds like we lost
I got it.
trees in the scenic mountain area there.
Yeah. Okay, Ron. 751. verges up into the scenic mountain area.
Right.
The property in question had I don't want to use the most extreme adjective, but, or, yeah, adjective, but most extreme storm damage of very, very large trees right alongside the road, the driveway. As you go up off of East Road on the driveway, there were trees as big around as your car and bigger than that, laying down on top of each other. Think about that. All this was a guy who was the property manager for that property calling me up and saying, hey, I want you to know I got to deal with this stuff. This guy, we need to cut these trees up and separate the trees from the stumps and whatever. And I went and I spent about 2.5, 3 hours there with him and looked at all this. And serious storm damage. This is a big deal this year.
Oh, and I understand that. The question is, since it's in the scenic mountain area, the number of large trees that got taken down in this process, should we keep asking to have them replant trees?
What's the question?
Could we be asking the landowner at 751 East Road to replant trees because a number of trees got taken? One tree came down with a storm, but it took down several others. Well, that's
No. This is trees that were taken down by the storm. They're already down.
I know. But these trees are all in the scenic mountain area. Should we be asking for a
Right, I understand.
Should we be asking for a replanting of any of these trees?
Oh, you mean the storm came in and took them down and now they're asking for permission to replace them?
Should we be asking them, is what my question is. I mean, there's one tree.
All he was doing, all this was serving notice on the commission that these trees were down. I went and looked at them and they were down.
I understand that. I'm not questioning that.
Okay. Next question. He was not asking for anything else. He wanted to serve notice that these trees were down and he was going to cut them up because they were across the driveway and down on the land and whatever. And this is a property manager and he had to do this because this was a problem. Now, when it comes to planting more and whatever, okay, well, we'll get there. But that's not what this is about. This is about simply serving notice on the commission that this is storm damage, and would you please look at it and see it, which I did, and certify, which I will, that it was storm damage and not him taking down trees without a permit.
You absolutely agree with that. Question is, should we be asking the landowner to plant any trees? This may have opened up a scar on the hillside, for all we know.
No, he did not open a scar. The storm damaged and opened a scar, and he was dealing with it as a property manager. And if he wanted to plant something, he would come back and ask for a permit to do so.
We'd be recommending that. Might be a scar that we want to ask him to. We don't. No, never mind. Let's just get this one here.
Let's take a vote on it.
Going around in circles here, Shep. So,
I'll make a motion.
make a motion to,
I make a motion that that we let this be. There's no action necessary on this.
I'll second that emotion.
And I'll, and Ron approves it.
Pat,
Pat approves it.
Harley, aye.
Dan, I.
Can't write fast enough here. Okay. Adam, did I hear you?
Aye.
Ron? John? John, aye?
John, I.
Well, you guys aren't hearing me talking here for some reason. I don't know why, because
I think it's the Zoom program. I think you're getting some kind of crosstalk. I don't think it's anybody on the meeting.
Shep's being there too. When I mute him, it seems to go away. Okay. Oof. Okay, item 5A. Discussion of violations and/or enforcement actions, superseding orders. 5A is U Drive Fire Tower pole line easement violation. Shep, I'll just give a quick summary here. I've seen your letter. We did get responses, return receipt requests from the letters we sent to the two contractors, but we didn't hear anything other than that. Friday, Shep and I received an email from DCR saying they wanted to meet with us. Shep and I took the position that we would invite them to the meeting tonight if they wanted to meet with us, because we didn't want to do it with just the two of us. We want the whole commission involved if they come in front of us. But we'd be looking for the same responses to what we requested for in the original enforcement order. And we have seen none of that. And so email response to Mr. Parenti was basically, come to our meeting if you want to talk to us on a regularly scheduled meeting. And we'll go from there. But we're still looking for the what we asked for in the enforcement order, which is a final restoration plan. And we're still issuing tickets. Shep is still issuing the tickets on a weekly basis, and we haven't stopped that, and we won't stop that. And that's where we're leaving it. We have no more to say on that at this point in time.
How much are they on the hook for now?
I don't know. I'm not keeping track of the numbers, but it was November the 6th, I think, was the original ticket. So you can count from there. So, and I will forward, Shep wrote a letter back today, this afternoon, and I've got it, and I'll forward it to all of you so you can read it. Probably not till tomorrow now, but he did a nice job on the letter. So we'll see what happens there. He's been invited to come in front of the commission. But then he obviously, when he came in Friday, was asking to talk about applicability of the Scenic Mountain Act and restoration. But what the hell does that mean, you know? We want commitments, real plans. So that's all I have to say on that one there. I don't know if you have anything else you want to add, Shep. But I think we got to move on because there's no more really to talk about on that. So that letter that Shep wrote is basically reinforcing what we had all voted on, agreed to in the past. There's nothing new.
Shep, you're muted if you're trying to talk.
I'm not muted. You're not hearing me at all?
No, I'm hearing you. Shep is muted.
Oh. Yeah, you're right. I can't unmute him.
Ron, did you get my aye in that last vote?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Shep, if you want to say anything more on that,
Yeah,
you'll have to unmute yourself. I don't know why I can't unmute.
can you hear me?
you're unmuted. Go ahead if you have anything more to say. You heard what I said, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay, thank you. First of all, we've issued citations to DCR and their subcontractors. We're approaching $2,000 in citations. Now, these things are like $100 a day for a continuing violation, but there's three contractors, the DCR and two subcontractors. So it adds up. This is rapidly becoming a big deal. They have, from the outset, alleged that they have no jurisdiction. We have no jurisdiction. Our letters to them lay out chapter and verse why we do have jurisdiction. And most recently, we've had an email from the senior engineer for DCR, Jeff Parente, to Ron and to me to meet with us privately to talk about jurisdiction and what they might want to do next spring. Now, this is a milquetoast, very weak response to our request for a restoration, mitigation, restoration plan for the whole Lenox Mountain side, where they went up and made the road and did all of what they did. The time is going to come in the not too distant future where DCR is going to have to come to the table. And you should expect, and if you don't get it, you should demand it as commissioners, that you should expect that as the permit granting authority for regulations under the Scenic Mountains Act in Richmond, you are entitled, you are the permit granting authority for what the state of Massachusetts, DCR, don't be awed by that, but that's just another entity, might want to have done on the mountain without a permit. Now, I want to remind you that if this had been Charles Winthrop, Joseph Blow, or John Smith from some other municipality who had gone up on the mountain with the bulldozer to make a trail up to the top of the mountain, to make it easier for these nice people to walk up to the top without a permit, you should have called them up short, and you should have issued an enforcement order, which you did in this case for the DCR. The DCR is not they are not unregulated. They're not a free spirit. They do not, DCR does not, under the law, as I understand it, have the opportunity to go rumping up and down the hillsides and do whatever they want. because they say we are DCR. The town of Richmond, under the former chair of the Conservation Commission, has the reputation of being the defender of the Scenic Mountains Act. This is the only original, I don't know about subsequent, but the only original challenges in the courts of the Scenic Mountains Act for somebody who owned a bunch of land and wanted to build a house up on the hill and get a big view and do all that. That was denied for good reason under the act. So you have a tradition, if you will, one generation maybe of tradition, but that's a start. To defend the public interest of the fully vegetated, forested, steep slopes, mountaintops, and erosion controls wherever there is development, to protect the downstream watershed and the viewshed of the valley that surrounds you. And that is the short answer to why the Scenic Mountains Act. So
Wasn't short.
do your thing.
We understand that, Shep. We've been through this already. We all understand the act and the rules. And you're issuing the tickets continuously here. And we'll see if Mr. Parenti responds to your email about coming in front of the commission, but the enforcement order period expired last week, too. We were supposed to have a restoration plan to us by last week, and that hasn't happened. So the only question I would have, and we can talk about it offline, but we move this up in the district court relative to its importance, is they're really ignoring us, even though they're saying they want to come talk to us. Maybe the fact that they want to come talk to us is sufficient for us to hang loose, but we can't hang loose too long here. And just keep finding them and get that restoration plan, get them to acknowledge that we have jurisdiction. That's the other part of it. And the fact that roads up the mountain are not exempt. Whole line easement might be, but not the road itself. So I guess that's what we can talk about right now. We'll have to see what happens next. So I'd like to move on. What I'm gonna
May I ask a question? Just a quick one. So on the matter of the subcontractors, have we got a hearing date yet?
No,
Okay, thanks. I mean, we'll get it when we get it, I guess.
no, there's no reason to set a hearing date because they haven't filed anything that would generate a hearing date.
They copied their letter to the district court. That's all I've done so far.
Well, I
Oh,
mean,
you mean at the district court? No, nothing.
yeah, nothing. Okay.
Nothing.
No, they're buried under COVID-19 and whatever.
That's the problem. They use COVID-19 to delay things, and it's this violation, of course, April, May timeframe, May, June. And it's over 6 months now because things occurred, and we have nothing to tell us that we're going to correct the situation, whether a restoration plan or whatever. So probably have to get a little, maybe we have to get our lawyer back involved here. We'll talk to that point here. All right, there's 4 more items on the violations list here. I think I want to defer those to another meeting because I don't think Steph has had a chance to look at any of those. I'm going to defer items 5B, C, D, and D. Item E, which is Skatesbrook DEP superseding order status. Other than a message from McKenna, heard nothing. So until this COVID thing is over, just keep that off the agenda for the time being. But not to forget it. There's a problem with that topic.
I'm just wondering, since we voted last time a little bit about what we were going to do with Willow Drive, whether there's been any action at all.
Well, Shep has to take that action. He's going to write a letter. And unless you've written it, I haven't seen anything yet. Give him warning about it.
Harley, I want to thank you for your terrific photographs of the violation, the manifestation of the violation. This is a classic, long-standing thing, which, no, we've not done anything now. I will, but I've been involved in other stuff, as you might imagine.
It's also on the resiliency team with Danielle, so that's taking some time from Concom.
I can't hear you.
You're on the Danielle's resiliency team. The community resiliency plan, the hazard mitigation plan.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're spending some time on that. So.
This is more my curiosity than anything else. I understand that Shep's has a lot of bosses and a lot of work to do, and I just wanted to know what the current status was. So
about what?
About 159 Willow. I guess we're
okay. We gotta go. No, Harley, let me capsule it for you. Sure. We got a guy who had a little ranch house with a badly designed foundation.
Shep, you don't have to.
Shep, I don't need that detail. I was just curious, real quick answer. We're still just intending to write him a letter or send him a warning.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, no, we've written him letters. We posted enforcement orders. We've recorded a thing against the title on the property, an enforcement order, and we are getting ready to get out the Matic and go heavy. I mean, the point is, you can imagine you can only go just so far with an incapable defendant. So, or you can only accomplish so much with an incapable defendant. The point is, this guy's going to be buried. This is the most significant wetland buffer line riverfront resource area of violation I have seen in 35 years.
And this violation was the reason that we went to the town to ask for this bylaw change.
Exactly. And we will have the opportunity to, that's a sick thing, but we will have the ability to certify week by week by week by week as it accumulates $200 a week for violations of the Wetlands Protection Act and the Richmond Pawtucket bylaw. And in due course, rejoice, you may end up with ownership of the property. I don't know, but it's going to get fixed.
Okay, thank you, Shep. Let's move on. It's getting pretty late. Like I said, we're not going to talk about items C and D. We did talk about B, which is the little drive thing. I mentioned what we're doing with Skatesbrook. Just going to drop that off the agenda until this COVID thing is over. Because the CP rep that's following that is not following it, as far as I'm concerned. So item 6, special permits, we have none. Open NOI, OOCs, and RDA status, in-process inspections. Well, we only did an inspection related to the Dublin Bridge here a while back, 2 weeks ago. That's about the only inspection. I don't know if Shep had any other inspections in erosion controlled areas or whatever, you know. You've done some of those, you can mention them.
What's the question, Ron?
Item 7, open NOIs, order conditions, and RDAs. You done any erosion control inspections for any of these projects? In the last-
No.
No, I didn't think so. That's why I left it the way it was. Okay, item 8, update on getting signatures on orders. I've written an email to Danielle and the Board of Selectmen relative to electronic signatures, and I have not heard back on that. That's item 8. Agency report. Fire permits or upcoming inspection. Do you have anything there relative to firing permits?
No, but we have a folder at Town Hall where there are things that need signatures. Now, I'm not going to sit here and recite all the things that need signatures, but the point is we have paperwork we got to sign. And so you as members of the commission have to do that. And there's a folder in the downstairs at Town Hall of things that need Conservation Commission signatures.
Okay, I'll go through it. I didn't know there was anything there. I hadn't heard.
Well, there were. I don't think, I think there's probably more. They keep piling up. Please go and please do it. And if you want to call Town Hall and see if there's anything there before you go, so you don't be disappointed, please do that. I mean,
Gotta drop off the signed minutes. and Adam will have to sign them too, that we just approved. So I'll be by there anyway. Okay? And I'll let you know if there's anything there. Or that's there. And if we can't get you guys can get to Town Hall, I'll bring it to the house again. Okay, thank you, Shep.
Yeah.
You also mentioned that on that 751 East Road, there might be there's a steep slope retaining structure that may be coming in, or some kind of a RDA or anything on there. I don't know if you have any more information. That was a future one. That's okay.
We've always got something. There's nothing notable. I mean, yeah, I think there's one or two, but they're dribbling in. Most people are stymied by the current situation and COVID and everything else. And it's winter and nothing can be done right now. So they're slow. So things will pick up in the spring, rest assured.
Okay. Item 10, Richmond Pond Association. The only thing there is the fact, and I think I sent you out information on that, is that Milltown has bought the Lakeside Christian Camp property, and Ken Kelly is staying on top of that. Hopefully they'll do the right thing with the property, but we have to watch it because they are on our ponds. We don't have jurisdiction relative to wetlands protection, but we might have some advice to give them if they're doing anything along the shoreline or with the dam. Item 11. Conservation land fund discussions. At parcel 0142 that the town has agreed to put into conservation, the Board of Selectmen has agreed to put into conservation. It's being held up because there's a deed search going on, and Harley's been spending a lot of time on it. Thanks to Harley, They're doing some great work trying to search out the deeds, but so far they haven't found a deed to that particular parcel that was voted on. So they might have to create a new deed. And Danielle's kind of had the option here to make a decision on how to go about that. Harvey's putting all the information. He's kind of interested in some of it. That's 11A. There's nothing more to say on that. That's kind of on hold, but we're hoping we'll get something settled before town meeting. Into the town meeting, Article 97. Whatever the law is. Article 11B. In a butter requested wanting to conserve the Richmond Shores Lot 345 across from Beach Road from Nordine Mars. Lots are scheduled for the public auction on 13 January. And the butter wrote a letter to the selectmen and myself asking about conservation of those lots. So Harley and I went out and looked at it and identified that all three lots would probably require a permit from us. But we didn't take any action to ask to put it in conservation because the abutter said he's going to try to buy those lots and the auction is tomorrow. And he said he would put it in conservation. They're terrible lots, very wet, right on Beach Road. There's some wetland species along the road, whether or not they're on the lot, but they probably need a delineation. But they'd have to come to us for a permit on all three lots. Most of them are all in natural heritage to start with. There's probably so we'll let Phil Malunzi bid on them tomorrow or the ends up. We could have made a case to try to conserve, but with this other lot, we kind of decided not to go any farther with looking to support Bill Malunzi. Peter, are you happy? Peter Miller? You heard what I said about lot 142, right?
I heard about what? I'm sorry.
Your next door lot.
Yes.
142. That thing has been investigated thoroughly by Harley and data provided to the town. They can't find a deed, so they might have to create one. But it's more complex than that. But it's basically on hold in terms of putting that thing into conservation until the deeds are sorted out. And Harley's doing a great job on that. Thank you, Harley. He knows pretty pictures. Very informative pictures. So he's feeding that into the Board of Selectmen. At least the time deal. So nothing's happening there yet. Peter, you're only citizen left here. Do you have anything you want to say besides what?
Ron, any idea to putting another deed together?
Oh,
try that again, Peter.
Sure. Any idea how long this process will take to establish a new deed?
I do not know, because what's going to happen once all the data is gotten, Harley, you're still looking for a few things, right? Relative from the state, relative from potential.
So the way it's very simple. The lot next to you is 125. We have a deed for that. The town owns it. And that one's just part of what the modern day tax parcel is. The other part of that parcel is 126. 126 goes all the way up past the boat launch to the state line with Pittsfield. To the town line with Pittsfield. So that larger parcel along there includes the right of way for the road, the boat launch area, everything, right? So what will probably have to be happening is that there's going to have to probably be a professional survey financed by the town to delineate what the modern situation is, because the old deeds and the tax parcels don't match. And you can only do business on deeds. You can't do anything on tax parcels. The only thing a court will recognize a tax parcel for is to declare who owes taxes on that, probably owns taxes. It's worthless otherwise. So we have to regulate, we have to find a way to regulate or to regularize those deeds so they make sense. And that is going to be a process between the town lawyer, a surveyor and the select board, and they're going to have to write deeds. Once they've got that done, then it's a very simple matter to put the warrant on to the town warrant for a meeting, and and then we'll vote on whether we're going to put it in a conservation. How long will it take? I mean, the deeds are all found. So, at this point, it's just a matter of some decision making. There's a little bit of research that could still be done, but I think it's more to satisfy people's curiosity about how it got so mismatched between the tax parcels and the deeds rather than any legal effect. And I think that's what they're going to resolve it to. So, I mean, it's just going to depend on how busy the select board and our lawyers are, and Danielle, and how much time they can devote to it. And there's no way to predict that. So
The Board of Selectmen has already voted to put it into conservation. The question is,
Yeah.
in front of town meeting would be the Article 97 aspect. That's what it was agreed to on that back.
yeah, and it's just going to take time to do the little dance to get all the legal work all regularized before they can act on it. That's all.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you need for me to do in the meantime?
I need a big slice of cherry pie because I'm getting hungry. No, nothing at all.
So-
I don't
so-
think.
So I'll keep cutting the grass in the meantime.
Yeah, and if you want the most current like deeds information for your own curiosity, I'd be happy to send it to you.
Sure. The more information I have, the better. Absolutely. I'd appreciate that.
Okay, I'll keep you current.
Okay. Thanks, guys, for that. Help me out.
Thank you, Harley. There's no other item on the agenda under 13, other discussions. I just want to encourage everybody, all the residents particularly, to attend one of the briefings on the Municipal Building Committee. We're pitching the new town hall library community space. I listened to it last night. They got 4 more briefings on it. This month and next month. They put the thing up to town meeting to vote to go ahead with it and get the loans and do the whole thing. The committee did a very nice job on it. And laying it out on the old Annan property there. Next to the school. It's very nice. I had comments on the exterior, and a number of people did, because it doesn't look too New England to a lot of us. We're making some comments relative to the outside, but the inside is well laid out. Shep, you got a nice office there in the office wing of the building, and as does everybody else. The library is very nice. But anyway, I encourage you to take a look, listen to one of those briefings, all you guys that pay taxes. If you're not a resident, you can't vote at town meeting, but obviously it'll support you too, even a part-time resident. And Neil Pilson has set up a joint meeting on the Municipal Building Committee and the Long Range Sustainability or Planning Committee, that he wants members of all the different boards to attend on the 21st of January. And I forwarded that information to you too. Briefings by the building committee. So you have that information. I encourage you to listen to that municipal building. Only a couple of you of residents, Adam and Pat. Listen to you. If you haven't seen it already, this is the second one they had last night. It's about 1 hour. It's very informative. So that's all I have. Unless somebody has anything else to say, I'm going to make a motion to adjourn. Look what time it is. 10:04. All in favor?
Aye.
I don't need roll call on that. That's an adjournment thing. Okay, thank you all. And Shep, I'll check at the town hall if there's anything that has to be signed. I didn't know there was anything there. But I do have to get the signed minutes there, so Adam, you'll have to. If you want to stop by here, or I can leave them there. It's up to you.
Okay.
Thank you, guys.
Take it easy,
Thank
guys.
you.
So long meeting, buddy. Kind of productive.